Okay, so we're diving into loneliness today. Something I think we all want to understand a little better. It's kind of like this big scary thing, right?
Yeah, definitely. It gets a bad rap.
But what if? Like, what if there's actually, some good that can come from it?
Well, it's funny you should say that because that's exactly what we're going to talk
Oh,
about.
really?
Yeah, like it seems counterintuitive, but loneliness might actually, you know, have some advantages.
Loneliness having advantages.
Yeah, especially, in this crazy world, right? Our hyper-connected world.
Wait, advantages?
It sounds kind of crazy,
It does.
but there's this psychiatrist, Dr. K. He also spent some time as a monk.
Oh, wow.
And he has this really fascinating take on this whole thing. He's noticed this trend where, even though everyone's on their phones all the time, loneliness is on the rise.
Yeah, that's so true.
And he thinks it's not just about, fewer third places.
Like coffee shops and stuff.
Exactly, yeah, bowling leagues, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
He thinks it's something deeper. It's not just like we're physically less connected.
Oh, okay. So what is it then? What's this deeper thing?
He says that, people are changing. They're more focused on themselves these days, quicker to, get upset, less patient with each other.
Oh, yeah. Less tolerant.
Yeah.
I've noticed that, yeah.
And that makes it, way tougher to actually, connect with someone.
Right.
Even if you're, chatting online all the time.
So we're lonelier and we're kind of harder to get along with.
Yeah.
That's a recipe for, well, more loneliness, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
But here's where, Dr. K gets really, really thought-provoking.
Okay.
He argues that this loneliness might actually be, our brains trying to protect us.
Really?
Yeah.
In this crazy world.
Yeah. Like a built-in defense mechanism.
A defense mechanism against all the craziness.
Yeah.
Oh, how does that work?
So, think about it. You're constantly bombarded with, bad news,
Wow.
social media drama. Everyone's, stressed out all the time. Your brain's kind of, on high alert.
Right.
And loneliness, in this sense, kind of forces you to step back,
Yeah.
It lowers the intensity of all those, negative emotions. It's like hitting the pause button on, a super chaotic movie. You know what I mean?
So it's less like, I'm sad and alone, and more like, my brain just needs a break.
That's a great way to put it. Yeah, it's a way to regulate those super intense feelings, especially the negative ones, and find a calmer state.
That makes sense.
Especially nowadays with all the negativity that we're exposed to online.
Yeah, totally. So loneliness is like a mental reset button.
Yeah, you could think of it that way.
Okay. But isn't there a difference between feeling forced into being alone and then choosing to be alone?
Oh, 100%. And that's a brilliant question, by the way. You're right on the money. Dr. K makes this really, really crucial distinction between loneliness and solitude.
Yeah.
They both involve being alone, but loneliness is that passive, unwanted isolation.
Right.
Solitude is when you actively choose to be alone, and that makes all the difference.
That's really interesting. It's almost like a mindset thing.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Okay, this makes me think of monks.
Yes.
They choose solitude as part of their life.
Right.
And they seem pretty darn peaceful.
Yeah.
And that's not exactly what we picture when we say lonely.
That's a perfect example. It's all about the choice.
Yeah.
When you decide to be alone, it fundamentally changes the way that you experience it.
Yeah. It's like if someone forces me to eat broccoli, I'm miserable.
Right.
But if I decide to eat healthy, suddenly I'm a green smoothie enthusiast.
I love that analogy. It's so true. It's the same with solitude. We take ownership of that alone time, and it becomes something positive.
Oh, yeah.
We're in control.
Okay. That's really powerful.
Yeah.
This is already changing how I think about things. So if you want to tap into this good kind of alone time, what's the secret? What do we do?
Well, that's a great question. Dr. K says it all starts with being mindful of what we let into our minds. All that high arousal stuff we were talking about.
I mean, the news and social media and all that.
Exactly. Think of it this way. Every time you see a shocking headline or you get into a heated online argument,
Oh, yeah.
your brain gets flooded with all these stress hormones.
Oh, wow.
It's like revving your engine in neutral.
So all that online negativity,
Yeah.
It's putting our brains on overdrive.
Yes, and after a while, your brain just craves a break. you know? And that's where that urge to isolate comes in. It's not that you consciously like want to be lonely. It's your brain just seeking a time out from all the intensity.
So like my doom scrolling habit might actually be making me crave solitude more.
It is. And Dr. K says this is especially true for like certain types of content,
Yeah.
you know, doom scrolling through negative news,
Oh, yeah.
getting sucked into online debates,
Yeah.
constantly comparing yourself to others on social media.
Ugh, yeah.
It all like contributes.
Okay, so that's making me rethink my social media breaks.
Yeah.
But I'm still a little confused. How can, like, isolating ourselves help us connect with other people?
Right.
That seems like the opposite of what we should do.
That's where it gets really, really cool. Dr. K argues that solitude isn't just about like tuning out the world, it's about tuning into yourself.
So by spending time alone, we kind of get to know ourselves better.
Yeah.
But how does that translate to, like, better social skills?
Think about it this way. When you like really understand your own thoughts and feelings, you become more authentic, you know? You're not trying to be someone you're not. You're not seeking validation from others. You're just comfortable with who you are.
So it's like solitude gives us a stronger sense of self,
Yeah.
and that makes us more genuine in our interactions.
Exactly. And when you're genuine, you attract people who appreciate you for you.
Yeah.
You're also like better at understanding other people's emotions because you become more in tune with your own.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
And Dr. K mentioned monks earlier, right?
Yes.
He used them as an example of how solitude can actually improve social connection.
Right.
How does that work?
He points out that monks, despite their like solitary lifestyle, are known for their like deep compassion and ability to, you know, connect with others.
Yeah, they're very peaceful.
Why is that? Because they've spent so much time reflecting on their own inner world that they develop this profound understanding of like a human condition.
Oh, wow.
So
it's like they've leveled up their empathy skills by spending time alone.
Precisely. And that empathy makes them incredibly skilled at like listening, offering support, and forming genuine bonds. It's like solitude gives them this like superpower of understanding.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
I mean, who would have thought that being alone could actually make us better at socializing? It's almost like a secret weapon.
It is. And the best part is, this isn't just like some theory studies have actually shown that people who regularly engage in solitude tend to have stronger, more satisfying relationships.
Wow, so there's actual science backing this up. This is incredible. So if we want to like tap into this solitude superpower, where do we even begin?
So where do we begin? Well, you know, it's interesting because we've been talking about how choosing solitude can help us, you know, regulate our emotions.
Right.
And even like connect better with other people.
Yeah, there is.
But there's actually more to it than that.
Oh, really? Like what?
So like think about your typical day, you know, meetings, errands, scrolling through your phone. It's nonstop.
Oh, yeah, it's constant.
Right. Your brain is just like constantly processing information, reacting to external stimuli.
Oh my gosh, yes. By the end of the day, I am fried.
Exactly. And that's where solitude comes in. It's like hitting the pause button on all that mental chatter.
Oh, okay.
You know, it gives your brain a chance to rest and recharge so you can come back to like your social interactions feeling, you know, refreshed and energized.
So it's not just about like being physically alone.
Right.
It's about giving our brains a break from like all the mental stimulation.
Precisely. And Dr. K actually says that when we come back to, you know, social situations after a period of solitude, we're more present, more attentive, and more capable of actually engaging in like meaningful conversation.
It's like stepping out of a crowded room into a quiet garden. Suddenly, like, you can breathe again. Everything seems clearer.
That's a great analogy. And this isn't just like anecdotal. There's actual science that backs this up. Studies have shown that people who regularly engage in solitude tend to have more fulfilling social interactions.
Wow, so there's like research behind this.
Yeah. They're better listeners, more empathetic, less likely to get caught up in like, you know, drama.
Wow. So solitude is like a secret weapon for improving our social skills.
Right. It all comes back to that idea of like emotional regulation and self-awareness. When we like really take the time to understand ourselves, we become better equipped to understand and connect with like everyone else.
Yeah, I'm starting to see how all these pieces fit together. It's like this amazing cycle. Solitude leads to self-awareness, which leads to better social skills. And that leads to, you know, deeper connections and a sense of belonging, which then reduces loneliness. It's like, it's brilliant.
It is. And, you know, the most empowering part of all of this is that we have the choice. You know, We can choose to see solitude as a burden,
Right.
or we can choose to see it as an opportunity for like growth and connection.
It's a powerful shift in perspective.
Mm.
So as we're wrapping up this deep dive, what's the one thing that you want our listener to like walk away with today?
I think the most important takeaway is that solitude isn't the enemy. It's a really valuable tool that, when used intentionally, can, transform our lives.
Yes.
It can help us like manage stress, deepen our relationships, and cultivate a greater sense of, peace and well-being.
And remember, you don't need to become a hermit to reap the benefits. Even like small moments of solitude,
Yeah.
like taking a walk in nature, reading a book, or just like sitting in silence for a few minutes.
Yeah.
It can make a world of difference.
So try it out. Experiment with different ways to incorporate solitude into your routine. You might be surprised at how much it like enriches your life.
Yeah, this has been an incredibly insightful journey.
Yeah.
I hope you've enjoyed it as much as I have. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the surprising power of solitude. Until next